Hey, with us now, we got the chairman and director of Wynn Resorts, Elaine Wynn. Elaine is the chairperson of the National Board of Communities in Schools. She's joined by Dan. Dan, they put this phonetic pronunciation. I can just read it and see that it's Cardinali.
Cardinals.
Exactly, Cardinali. It's sometimes the phonetic pronunciations are harder than the words. He's president of Communities in Schools. Communities in Schools, of course, is a nonprofit organization that connects students to critical local resources to keep them from giving up and dropping out. And Elaine, we saw you at our New Jersey.
That's correct.
Town hall meeting in Fort Lee.
Yes.
And talk a little bit more about what this remarkable organization does.
Well, this is an extraordinary organization, and we're about to release a very important report this morning, so you're getting a sneak preview. We're not like most nonprofits in the sense that we focus on outcomes. And we combine compassion with being impactful to the economy of this country. My feeling is that the best source of renewable energy are our own kids who are at risk of dropping out of high school. And what we're going to share with the country today are factual results based on some research and studies that we've done about actual students that have been in this program. Most people go at education directly through traditional forms of reform that have to do with teachers and pedagogy. What we engage in is creating a way to deliver services that exist in communities that can help kids be prepared to learn once they come to school. And we are able to do it on great scale. We're in 25 states, the District of Columbia, and to our mind, we're the most successful organization in this dropout prevention world.
That's great. You know, Dan, one of the thing I love about the program is that just for years, it's made sense, I think, not just to me, but a lot of people driving around. You see a failing school in the middle of the community, and you see businesses all around it. You see community centers all around it. And you go, wait a second, there's so many talented people outside this infrastructure. Why aren't we linking up partnerships more? That seems to be exactly what you guys are doing.
That's a large part of what we do. So we believe that in communities exist enormous assets that are not connected to schools. And so our goal is not just to connect them to schools, but get the right sets of services to the right kids. So what we hear often from teachers and principals when we go into a new school is they have 20, 30 nonprofits and volunteers running around, but they really don't know what they're doing, what the services they're providing, or if the kids are actually materially better.
There's nobody really taking a bird's eye view of the whole thing, right? A lot of activity,
exactly
and you really need somebody to look and be able to figure out what's working, what's not working.
Yep. So I was telling Willie, I'm Italian, so the people we put in schools, it's hard to believe.
With this name?
Well, you know, it's actually half Italian, half German.
Okay.
But the passion comes out in the Italian.
The trains go on time, too.
Yeah, they do go on time. So we take individuals from the community, train them, certify them, and they're like social workers and Italian mothers put together. And they're in the school, they partner with teachers and principals, and they take a comprehensive view of what's going on in the school. And they say, what are the best resources we can bring? The adults, the after-school programs, the mental health providers, food, shelter, whatever it takes. And we get them to the right kids in the right dosage. What we've shown, though, is that when you do this, you actually can drive academic outcomes. We can improve math and reading scores for 4th and 8th graders. We actually are the only organization that has proven results, so we can actually lower dropout rates and improve graduation
and
rates.
Willie, this is great news. Your mom obviously has been involved in this for such a long time. This sounds exactly like what we need. Everybody's talking about education reform.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what's working, what's not working, and how to team up the resources.
Yeah, my mom's a social worker for Harlem Academy, and there's so many things, as you say, outside the classroom that add to educational outcomes. These are simple things, Elaine, that you guys are doing. Brothers sharing a pair of shoes.
Exactly.
Okay, now we know that kid needs a pair of shoes. God, let's get him a pair of shoes. Having a good breakfast, having somewhere to go for after school to learn. These are pretty fundamental things that are falling through the cracks, but that are critical to the development.
Not to mention the extended family needs. You know, parents that are not employed that need career training and counseling, health care. Simple things like glasses that make all the difference between being able to read the blackboard and your materials and not. there's an awful lot that's taken for granted that we believe are provided, but they're not provided. But what we'd love to share with you are the results of this report, because we think it's pretty startling. And I'd have to tell you, if communities and schools were a stock, I'd be buying.
Okay.
So Dan, off of Elaine's answer right then, we know where dropouts occur in what sections of each city, what schools and everything like that. We're pretty much aware of that. What's in the report? What specifics are you going to announce and address later today?
So what we've done is we've taken the results from our 5-year longitudinal evaluation that shows that we actually lower dropout rates and improve graduation rates. And then we asked the question, those are great results, but what economic benefit do those have in terms of communities and individuals? So we hired a firm to say what we did with our longitudinal evaluation. Tell us the brutal facts. Do we make a difference economically by removing the non-academic barriers that kids show up to school with that end up leading to dropout? And the results are quite compelling. We know that for every dollar invested in CIS that's doing work in high schools, we have a $11.60 return on investment. So that aggregates up that every time this past year when we invested about $185 million into preventing dropouts, we will return to this country $2.6 billion of economic value.
Yeah. How do you? I'm going to drop out. I'm 16. I'm going to drop out. How do you save me? How do you prevent me from dropping out?
So there are two fundamental things we do. One, we know who you are. We know your story. We know that what your challenges are, and we care. You know that there's an adult who carries your narrative and then will be there for you no matter what. And then we say, gosh, you don't have enough food. We're going to make sure you get connected to the food bank. We realize that you're now working 2 jobs after school because you're helping contribute to your family wage. We're going to figure out how to get you tutoring and academic preparation so that you can manage those jobs and still be successful in school. We do whatever it takes to make sure you can be academically successful, and we meet you where you're at. So we don't impose a set of programs on you. We learn what your needs are, and we then work with you to overcome them.
And you look at these numbers, Elaine, it reminds me of Waiting for Superman, the part of the movie where people start talking about how maybe we've looked at schools and failing communities the wrong way, thinking that schools are failing because they're surrounded by a failing community, when in fact we need to look at it the different way. The community is failing because the school in the middle of it is not vibrant. This is a way to turn that around.
It's definitely a way. There's a societal change in our country now, and we understand that everything is integrally connected. Not only are we connected in terms of our communities, but globally we're connected. And so this hysteria about us falling behind competitively is what's driving our work in particularly. And it's important now that we turn out an educated workforce, that we focus on our human capital, which is the truly great resource we have, and to ignore the economic impact of all these kids who could potentially be high earners, contributors to the tax roll, and more importantly, get them off the negative impact where social services wind up paying and supporting them and their families because they're not successful.
All right. Elaine, very exciting. Dan, thank you so much.